After a trip to A&E with her parents, she ended up moving out that same day. I have no idea what happened to her. Logically, my brain tells me she had a mental breakdown, but her parents seem to think she was possessed and that I had something to do with it. Okay, so we've had the bloke that had the seizure on the motorway, and then we just had that granddad going, "Oh, watch out, there's bloody deers about," to the woman on, or the driver and so this one, this one's another unexplainable mystery, and it's called "Mysterious Light Through My Bedroom Window" by Legit Banana 10. When I was 15, I used to let my dog sleep on my bed. One night, he was growling so loudly it woke me up. I had my back to my window and opened my eyes to see a bright green light against my entire wall, obviously coming from outside. I wanted to turn to look to see what was making it, but my body froze solid. The light was dancing across the wall, dimming and glowing, and as it did, my dog continued growling and barking at the window. I immediately thought, what did they immediately think?
That's an alien.
I wonder what that light is.
Aliens, Robbie. Come on, get with it. And sort of, my rationale went all out the window. Still too scared to see if I was right, I crawled out of bed on the side facing away from the window and picked up my dog as I It's funny picking up the dog, isn't it?
I want to know how big the dog is.
In my mind, it's a huge Rottweiler, but they can pick it up really easy.
Okay.
It's a Rottweiler filled with helium.
Or like a big St. Bernard.
Yeah.
Twice the size of him.
What would they say to it as they pick it up?
Oh, bloody hell, you're lighter than I thought for a dog that's a St. Bernard.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's good.
I picked up my really light dog that was filled with helium and walked into the hallway. I closed the door and looked at the bottom of the door to see if the light was still blasting, and it was. It come from underneath the bloody door. Still dimming and then getting brighter, as if it was moving right to left, left to right, closer to the window, then further away. I spent the next week sleeping in the hallway as I was too afraid to see what had been going on.
Sleep on your sofa at least.
You know what? When I lived at my uncle's little one box room flat thing full of Stella cans and that, Tom Norris, ever told you this?
No.
Tom Norris, Nozza, shout out Nozza from my Commander podcast. He stayed round mine once. He was meant to stay that night, but I got a bit lucky with a lady, so I took her back. Right, we were so drunk, she didn't question that Tom was in the taxi, and the floor was a shithole, covered in stains and just horrible, right? And we walked upstairs, walked into this little room. Tom looked at the bed, saw me and him, and just went, "I'm having the hallway, am I?" I went, "Yeah, you are." And he had to sleep in a pile of Stella cans and that. And then I didn't. Yeah, nothing happened.
Why are you winking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's staying in the hallway because it probably doesn't have windows and he's trying to stay away from the windows, I reckon.
Probably that. So, I spent the next week sleeping in the hallway next to Tom Norris, who was curled into a ball. And I didn't say that. I made that up.
Really? Really? They just happen to know that part of the story?
It never happened again, and my parents still take the piss out of me years later.
Yeah, rightly so. There's just some lights from outside.
It's like when I woke up a few weeks ago and I saw a light outside my window. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That orange light through the frosted glass? And I looked outside. My granddad was in there on a JCB.
You didn't sleep in the hall. You looked out the window. If he looked out the window, you could see the lights rather than just hide in the hole for a week.
Maybe this was just my granddad on a JCB.
Probably.
Yeah. One more explainable mystery. In the theatre? No.
What? What just happened?
It's Michael Jackson, because that is quite explainable. He kids.
Allegedly.
Right. In my third year of uni, I was paired with a very sweet religious Christian girl in our halls of residence. She kept to herself mostly, but she was always really kind and polite. This was the first year I didn't seem to have a bitchy roommate, so I was excited to go. Oh, it's a girl. It's a girl.
No, you stick to the bit, Jack.
Okay, start again, but do a girl's voice.
In my third year of uni, I was paired with a very sweet religious... I need to go more upmarket. Right, I'll think.
Do like Kim K.
In my third year of uni, that's going to get so annoying.
Yeah.
That is so annoying doing that voice.
It's
like so.
Literally. Oh, fuck, I've lost my bunny ears. Right. Pull my hair out. In my third year of uni, I was paired with a very sweet religious Christian girl in our halls of residence, blah, blah, blah. She kept herself to herself. She was polite. We know that. This was the first year I didn't have to put up with a bitchy roommate, so I was excited to get along with her. About 2 nights after we moved in, I wake up to hear somebody sobbing softly outside my bedroom door. Robbie? Why are you angry? Good. It was a really weird sound. This kind of desperate, creaky type of sobbing.
Oh, the cat's out again.
Yeah. And I was so scared at first because I thought it sounded like the shit you hear in horror movies. I heard someone moving around the apartment, occasionally coming back to my door and scratching on it softly.
Hey, I've been sound effects.
So I finally summoned the courage to peek out of my bedroom. It was my roommate. I was just walking around the apartment crying. I assumed she was sleepwalking because her eyes were closed. But when I opened the door, her head snapped to turn and look right at me. Freaked out, I asked her if she was okay, and she just stood there swaying and staring in my direction. Eyes still closed. And while I was basically like...
I still clothes.
Eyes.
Eyes... eyes still...
Eyes still closed. Eyes still closed, right.
She just turned away.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Eyes still closed.
Well, it's quite weird anyway, Stevie. I'm not getting more.
I've nicked a lovely pair of jeans.
He said eyes still closed, but for some reason I whispered it.
I nicked some stuff from Primark.
It's like,
I'm sobbing because I got to take it back.
it's like the Sixth Sense. I see dead people. Eyes still closed. Right. So her eyes, the girl's eyes were still closed. And I was basically like, nope, and locked the door. I woke up the next morning and realised the scratching was because she had drawn a weird symbol on my door, an upside-down triangle with the letter W underneath. When she woke up and saw the symbol, she started to get agitated with me and told me that the drawing was some sort of demon sign and was upset thinking that I tried to prank her because of her religion. She didn't believe that she had been sleepwalking and maintained that it was me who did this to her. We stopped getting on after that, and she continued sleepwalking multiple times over the next few weeks. This is until the last night she stayed there. I heard her sleepwalking again and ignored it as I had done before, but this time she started making a shrieking noise, a god-awful shrieking noise.
Why am I wanking?
I quickly opened the door to find her sitting in the kitchen with blood pouring out of her arm. Finding
I thought you were going to say eyes then. That's disappointing.
Finding she had repeatedly stabbed her forearm with a fork. I screamed and she seemed to snap out of it, stared down at her arm and jumped back in horror. She started to cry, "Help me, please help me, I need my mum. And also, do you know where I can find bagels?" So I took her phone and called her parents and an ambulance. After a trip to A&E with her parents, she ended up moving out that same day. I have no idea what happened to her. Logically, my brain tells me she had a mental breakdown, but her parents seemed to think she was possessed and that I had something to do with it.
Wow. That was a good story.
And I believe it.
I think I've mentioned the story on here. My first year of uni, someone was pulled out of halls by an ambulance because she was scraping her own skin off her face because she thought the devil was inside her.
Did she do drugs?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I lived on the 4th floor facing the main road. So, and my window was open at like 2 a.m.
You
whenever
could
it
hear
happened.
it?
I could just hear her, and I looked out the window and just saw this ambulance taking her away, and I was like, fucking hell.
Did you see her go in the ambulance?
I was too, because I'm 4 floors up. I saw someone, I couldn't see her face being ripped apart.
That's spooky, isn't it?
Yeah.
I heard one that, again, could be just folklore, and I hope it is actually, but one of my friends, his uncle works in like a mental institution, and said that a guy went in there because he'd done so much acid or some other drug that makes you a bit strange, and believed that his skin was burning, so he peeled himself. Pretty bleak, isn't it?
I thought this was going to be a fun episode.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs. Do you want one more? Can we have one more?
Yeah, let's have one more. I'm enjoying it.
Would you rather have broken glass or saved by Spotify?
If you'd said broken glass or urban legends, I would have picked you throwing broken glass at me. But the Saved by Spotify sounds like us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, let's do that.
This one's very short.
Is it by Mac Bean?
Jack's career.
This
Yeah.
is by somebody called Skeslow. It's very short. I work in a big warehouse with a lot of sharp corners and fast-paced forklift drivers. A pretty dangerous environment at the best of times. Stupidly, I often wear AirPods with ear defenders over the top to hide them. But this naturally drowns out a lot of the background noise, and because it's a warehouse, there is a lot of that.
Yep. Hence the ear defenders.
Yeah. One day I was walking through the warehouse listening to music as I normally would, when the song I was listening to started to glitch out, repeating the last few seconds on repeat, kind of like a scratch vinyl record. Wait. I stopped and pulled the phone out of my pocket to skip to the next song, and as I went to do that, a forklift squealed round the corner with a lot of heavy pallets on. I was pretty shaken up and realised that something may have tried to stop me from being mowed down by the forklift. I've never had this problem before, and my music has never lagged or glitched since.
Oh.
It's quite cool.
I believe it, because again, it's happened to me. People are going to think I'm a bullshitter, and sometimes I do make things up for a laugh.
I've had a few glitches here and there on
happened to you?
Spotify, stuff like that.
When I went out to Area 51 with Cal Freezy and
Yeah.
Fiona as my witness, like all the lights went out. Like it was obviously
yeah.
like the government
Yeah,
official
yeah.
saying "fuck off," and we got in the car, and my playlist wasn't on anymore, and it went to a random playlist, and it was the Animals or the Doors, and it said "Gotta get out of this place," and that
Yeah.
honestly did scare us
Yeah.
quite a bit. Just a coincidence,
Or the aliens.
or the aliens? That's more likely to be aliens than someone seeing a bit of fucking green light on their door.